having that dream again. We are the emissaries from the void. Let us begin our conjuring.
Are we conjuring a movie? Is it?
Yep, we're conjuring a movie.
Conjuring it in your minds, visitors.
Picture it in your mind. A prison for your mind.
So welcome back to Emissaries from the Void. I'm Tristan.
And I'm stuck in the Matrix. I'm Ari.
And tonight we have a feast for the senses.
That's a way of putting it. Yep. Content warning. This movie includes sexual assaults, good old-fashioned violence, and a lot of disgusting imagery that you might find unpleasant. Viewer discretion advised.
Okay, so this is a movie called The Cook, the Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover from 1989. It is not at all what I was expecting when I first watched it. The title really sounds like a silly farce.
And the cover. Like, if you just look at the actual cover of this movie, the actual it has it is a satirical movie. It is satirizing, and it is kind of a farce in a very squint kind of way. You could see it it's a very black comedy. Like, it's dark, very dark comedy.
I guess, yeah.
I would say it is.
So yeah, it's a kind of operatic. It's small in the scope of where things take place.
Yeah, we counted it up. There's a total of 4 sets.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Or 5 if you count the alleyway as a separate set from the kitchen.
Right.
But, same difference. It's, honestly, it's definitely got the aesthetics of stage play.
Yes. Absolutely.
Which I really liked. And apparently, when I was doing a little bit of cursory research on this film, there was a stage play that inspired it. Not necessarily verbatim, but you can definitely see that DNA clearly here evident.
Yeah. But it's also very cinematic. It's a good kind of fusion of the two. I think you could call it formalist.
For the audience, define what formalist means in a film context.
So it's kind of at the opposite end of the spectrum from realism. So a realist movie tries to be naturalistic and tries to immerse you in the story by dissolving all barriers between you and what's happening. And a formalist movie kind of goes the other way, and it's we all know we're watching a movie. It can just be a production.
Right. In my non-film student terminology that I would use, this film is a heightened reality.
Yeah.
That's what I would call this. It's the theater elements kind of give rise to the fact that it's definitely so first off, the film starts with us opening curtains.
Right.
Because this restaurant doesn't actually have a back door. They have curtains for their back door. And the film ends with the curtains being closed. Yes. So definitely a production. It's also got an operatic gravitas to it.
Yeah.
Everything is so fucking dramatic in this film. Just everything is treated with the utmost stakes. For this very small issue, you could easily if they had just started breaking out in song. Honestly, I expected them to break out in song in this film at least once or twice.
Yeah. Well, there is the kid who does sing opera, but that's diegetic.
But the fact that its inclusion is there, deliberate inclusion, shows that at least the creative team of this work was thinking of opera and theater and the not just them on an aesthetic level, but them on a presentation level.
Yeah.
So, Tristan.
Yes.
What was this movie about?
I think this movie was about pulling back the curtain, so to speak, on charlatanism and showing the cowardice beneath it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. That makes sense. So when they peel back the curtains at the beginning of the film, they are literally peeling back the curtains right. And we're getting a glimpse. Okay. You had other thoughts about it when we talked.
Yes. I also think there is a kind of theological way to interpret this movie. We'll get into that. I don't really have a good way to kind of sum it up.
Okay.
But I think it speaks to a cruel God and kind of a response to that idea.
It's been a theme of this season.
Yeah,
honestly,
this is the Mad God season.
Yeah, well, because like a lot of the films that we've reviewed have had either like religion is this evil thing or God is this absent or malevolent force. Like very much a pretty consistent through line through this season. And as we're approaching the end of that season, it's kind of fitting that we have a film like this, because I see this film as a representation of patriarchy. I don't really see the religious elements so much. I mean, there is obviously very religious themes that we'll get into, of course. The real satire of this film is focusing on men and how men treat women and how men perform for one another, but their performance is not necessarily based in any sense of reality.
Yeah.
And another analysis is Albert as a representation of the state. Like I can have a very leftist analysis of this film, because it seems to be about how the state imposes unnecessary cruelty and also just is gross. Like the portrayal of Albert in this film as the state, as the big dick that's fucking you for all you're worth and keeping down women and the artists of the world. And that kind of stuff. So as we progress, like
that's definitely in there.
Maybe Ari can go on another leftist rant.
Get your bingo cards out.
Does Ari bring up anarchism in a fucking podcast?
One more thing to just sprinkle over the top of all of that. I think we could say that consumption kind of broadly is an overarching theme, and it's like kind of different kinds of consumption, like consumption for nourishment versus consumption for
pleasure,
kind of its own sake.
Consumption for pleasure. So I would agree to that. I would say that like the reason why Borst, the chef, likes Georgina so much is because she truly appreciates his art and his craft. And so she's consuming, but she's consuming for the passion of art, which kind of a nice parallel between this and Only Lovers Left Alive. You know, consuming the lifeblood of the world, consuming passionate art made with a true, like Borst, he does this for the love of the game. You know, his pricing, as he says at the end, is so arbitrary. He prices things based off of people's perception of the price. You know, I charge more for anything black because it reminds people of death. So we can get a lot of into his mind. He sees his art as beyond money. It's the amount you pay for it is part of the art. And this is an artistic philosophy that I don't personally like, but I can respect the earnestness by which he does live his craft. Because I don't think that, I think art should be free, not necessarily tied down to money, but he's making art for the upper class. So part of his whole point is that like art is consumed by the upper class. They will pay whatever I charge for it because it doesn't matter. Money is fake and an illusion, and he can charge whatever he wants for his meals because his rich patrons will pay whatever. And he gives free food to Georgina multiple times. So
and it does kind of feel like a kind of a jab at these upper class people that he upcharges for vanity. So if these rich snobs aren't going to actually appreciate what he's doing, then he's going to make them pay through the nose for how it makes them feel.
Anything diet.
Yeah, yeah. Anything diet, aphrodisiacs, getting upcharged. Yeah.
Which, but like I could see Borst easily being the kind of person who would give a free aphrodisiac to a couple truly in love. Like he'd be like, this is compliments of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Because he's a romantic.
Yeah.
At the end of the day.
Okay. To briefly summarize the movie, for people who maybe didn't know if they had the stomach to watch this.
This movie is a bit gross. But I will this movie escalates in its grossness. Like it starts off with a pretty gross thing just to set the tone. Yeah. But then the really bad stuff doesn't happen until the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but there is gross stuff involving food. And I'm going to leave it at that until we get into it.
Yeah, and the aforementioned violence and sexual assault.
There'd be some sexual assault in this film for sure.
Okay, so basically, Albert is this organized crime leader who has purchased this fine dining establishment or financed it, and he's got the best chef that he could find, which is Borst. Really just his whole, it's a vanity project for him. And he eats there every night, and he dominates the conversation. This man can just talk endlessly.
About things that he doesn't know fuck all about.
Exactly. He is a charlatan through and through. And he likes to pretend that he knows about the finer things in life and, fine dining, but he doesn't actually have a palate to appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And he kind of oscillates between, telling other people that they're doing it wrong and telling the chef that he's doing it wrong. And
he is the fine dining equivalent of someone who skimmed a Wikipedia article and then proposed to know everything about a subject.
Yeah, yeah. So he's the thief and Borst is the cook. His wife is Georgina, and she has been trapped in this relationship for years. We learn later on that she has tried to escape several times. Albert treats her like an object at best.
He literally calls her his property a couple of times. Yeah. So more to that patriarchy lens by which you can view this film, that feminist lens.
Yeah, he's extremely possessive and jealous and abusive, and that's kind of pervasive throughout the film. Georgina catches the eye of, or rather her eye is caught by Michael,
yes.
Who is just this kind of unassuming nerd who's reading in this restaurant.
I mean, seriously though, goals. He's got 3 ancient tomes that look like they're at least 100 years old minimum, and he's just reading them while eating fine food. He's eating fine French cuisine while reading historic French books, as we find out later.
Yep.
It's very very twee. It's very much this is kind of a it's very cottagecore.
Okay. Yeah. So he and Georgina kind of start up this secret love affair, which at the beginning mostly takes place in the ladies' restroom. And for the first about half hour of the film, they don't exchange any words.
Right. They just fuck. It's really beautiful.
A lot of the movie is just them sneaking around, and at some point they do get formally introduced, and then they start talking, and eventually, inevitably, Albert finds out. And
has probably the most intense crash out I've ever seen on a film. Albert's crash out in this movie is just
biblical.
It is biblical. It's crazy. I've never seen a man crash out on screen like he crashes out in this film. It's maybe a Nicolas Cage movie has
right
can match it. Yeah. But
so Georgina and Michael are completely naked when this happens. And Borst, who is a bro, And he's kind of been helping them the whole time. He's like, okay, it's over. He found out. I can like
get you out
to
of
hide
here.
you, smuggle you out, basically. So they have to like wait in the walk-in freezer naked while he kind of prepares things and distracts Albert. And then their only exit is this van full of meat that has been there since the beginning of the movie.
Yes.
It's like the first thing that happens is these trucks pull up with meat, and Borst is like, I'm not going to use this because I only use food that I buy myself.
Yeah.
So it's just been sitting there for days. It's all rotting, and they're forced to get in the back of this truck, just surrounded by rotten meat, and they're smuggled out of the area.
And then they're washed.
Hosed down, yeah.
Yeah, hosed down. The hosing down of someone happens twice in this film, and it's a direct result of Albert's evil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's like a bit of a baptism element to that.
Mm-hmm. Then they stay at Michael's. He lives in this book depository, and he's like studying the French Revolution, and things seem kind of idyllic for a brief amount of time.
About 10 minutes.
Yeah.
About 10 minutes, you almost forget what kind of movie this is.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this movie's going to rip my beating heart out of my chest. And it does. It does. To its credit, this movie does a really good job of getting you super invested in the characters and then just punishing you for daring to be invested in the characters.
Yes. So long story short, Albert finds Michael alone there and brutally has him murdered by stuffing him with pages from one of his books.
Yeah. For creativity.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen someone get executed by book before.
Yeah.
Like, well, by having their mouth stuffed with pages from the book. I mean, I've seen someone killed with a book before. That's like pretty common in movies. I mean in movies audience. I don't mean like Ari's lived a wild life, but she has not witnessed murder with a book.
I kill somebody with a book every other Wednesday.
Yeah, I do it to warm up before Pilates.
Yeah. So after his murder, Georgina decides she wants to cook Michael, or she wants Borst to cook Michael, technically. And initially, Borst is
horrified at the idea.
Opposed. But what wins him over is when she says, I'm not going to eat him. I'm going to force Albert to eat him. He's like, oh, I see where you're going with this. So the denouement of this film is Albert being brought to the restaurant alone, and he's kind of stripped of his goons. They're like overpowered by the restaurant staff, and Georgina forces him at gunpoint to eat the cooked body of Michael that he killed. And despite earlier in the film Albert threatening to kill and eat Michael, he is utterly mortified by this experience.
Try the cock. You know where it's been.
Yes. This movie has some great like catty one-liners. So yeah, he eats a bite of it. She shoots him, and she's just like, fucking cannibal. And the curtains are drawn.
Yes. So let's autopsy this cooked corpse.
Yeah.
So let's start with the opening scene. Let's spend some time talking about it because a lot happens in the opening 8 minutes of this film.
Yeah.
So like as mentioned before, 2 trucks are pulled up. In fact, the trucks are the first thing to pull up. This film is very like symmetrically designed. So a truck, and then Albert's car pulls up. Yes. And him and his entourage get out of the trucks and the car respectively. And they're carrying a guy who works for the restaurant, one of the restaurant staff. And they just disrespect him. Like
They strip him naked,
cover him in feces.
Yeah, beat him up, wipe feces on him, throw him to the ground,
and then Albert
pisses
on him. Yep.
Yeah. And all the while there are these dogs
losing their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And like, y'all, every time we watch a movie and there's a dog in it, this opening to this film was made even more immersive by the fact that my dog was also barking.
Yeah. So basically, Albert dresses him down like, you have nothing except what you owe me.
Yeah.
And leaves him naked in the street and goes into the restaurant where he kind of gives a little tour of the kitchen area, which is by modern health standards a bit horrifying.
Yes. Borst, to his credit, does run a tight ship, but the kitchen is an OSHA violation just everywhere.
Yeah.
There's a man cooking without a shirt on.
Yeah, just one guy who just doesn't believe in shirts.
Nope. But you know what? Despite the health code violations, you bet that the food that comes out of that kitchen is some of the best you've ever fucking had. Because that's just how shit works with French dining.
Mm-hmm. So, Albert
he's like introducing his entourage to his acquisition.
Yeah.
It seems, at least I read it as, he has just recently acquired this. Like he was.
Yeah.
Borst knows who he is. But it seems like he had been running his extortion racket at this place for a while, but then recently has now acquired ownership of it.
That could be, yeah.
Albert bringing these two bountiful trucks full of stuff and Borst turning it down.
Yeah.
Really, I think, is the central core of this film, is that Albert brings all of this stuff, but like it rots in a matter of just days. And then later on when he brings the silverware to the restaurant, it's all cheap and Borst literally breaks with his hands. Central to the beating heart of this film is that nothing that Albert brings is quality or good or lasting.
Yeah, this is going to come up eventually. This guy is basically Donald Trump. Like he's trying to shill his Trump stakes, and Borst sees through it.
This is like pre-election Donald Trump.
Okay, so they get out to the dining hall, and he's just doing his thing, ranting at anyone within earshot. He'll constantly berate his own entourage, and
he'll look to Georgina to back him up, and then she doesn't.
She's just trying to get through the day.
Yeah, and she seems to just be trying to enjoy her food.
Right.
Honestly, like she calls this place her favorite restaurant later. So it's clear that Albert bought this restaurant partly probably because he wanted to control something that she liked.
Yeah. Another detail, Albert is very crude, makes a lot of sexual references, and whenever his entourage says something crude, he berates them for it and says that they have no manners. And at one point, Georgina even says, like, he's just copying you like he always does. Like,
yeah, he's just trying to be like you.
But Albert is a man of double standards, and anything that he says is meaningless. He doesn't stand by anything that he says. He doesn't live by any code that he momentarily espouses.
As is the case with all of life, the true measure of a person is their actions. Right. And all Albert's actions are that of disgusting wickedness. And it's not even just like he's doing bad things. Like, okay, he's a crime boss. Okay. In another movie, we'd have like, okay, well, I kill people and I beat people up, or I have my goons beat people up. But like, I'm not reveling in it. It's just a job. Like, I'm just doing it because of the money. Like, it's, they owe me money. I got to beat them up. Like, that's the logic by which most movies, and this is a mob adjacent film, I guess. Most films in that genre would have that sensibility about it. But Albert revels in it.
Yeah. which speaks to his insecurity ultimately.
Very insecure. Everything that he does in the second half of this film is a direct response of Georgina's actions.
Yep.
He's dressed himself up as an alpha wolf, but he's really an omega little bitch. Like, honestly, he wants to be in control because he's afraid of what the prospect of not being in control is. But he doesn't have any of the gravitas or ability to actually hold on to control. You know, like, he's not menacing. He's just sick. Like, I'm not, like, you're scared of him because he is unpredictable, because he'll do anything for your submission. He'll do anything to get your submission.
Yeah.
When in fact, you know, he's really the true submissive one because he has to get the validation of others.
Yeah.
Which is textbook narcissism.
Right.
So let's talk about Michael.
Okay.
More to my like patriarchal analysis of this.
Mm-hmm.
Michael is a man who is secure in his identity. He likes his books, even though Albert bullies him a few times for reading. He still just goes right back, gets his book, and goes right back. And the next day he's reading his books again. He doesn't give a fuck.
Yeah, he's very secure in who he is.
Yes. Michael is an example of healthy masculinity.
Yeah.
Right? Because we talk about toxic masculinity all the time. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, it's because most men are beset by toxic masculine features. But it's not... you can be like Michael. You can just be a guy secure in yourself who likes what you like and who oozes testosterone. Like, no one would mistake Albert for a woman.
Right.
This. He is definitely a man, but he is a good man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's kind of asking for trouble a little bit by fucking the mob boss's wife, but like, that's more of a mistake that he's making, not necessarily a mark against his quality. He's not trying to take her from Albert because he's the better man or whatever. He just sees a woman that he likes and he's just like, you want to spend time with me? I want to spend time with you. Yeah. So...
And on multiple occasions, he's like, okay, well, let's just go confront him about this.
Yeah. He's like, I'll go talk to him. Like, you know, you want to be with me? Well, come be with me then. Like, you know, he doesn't really, again, he's making mistakes.
Yeah.
But the mistakes are from a place of true passionate love. He wants to be with Georgina because he just kind of feels like he can give her what she needs. And that's really, at the end of the day, what a relationship is for. Like, can you provide something to someone that they need? And if the answer is yes, then pursue that relationship, right? Albert is a black hole of need. Yeah. Whereas Michael he's content to just read his books at his table. He doesn't give a fuck. Yeah. Georgina is a complement to his life, not a possession. Mm-hmm. How would you read the interaction between Michael and Albert in your religious analysis of this film?
Okay, so what led me to kind of view this with a theological lens is there are several scenes that just scream Christian allegory. When they're, you know, naked and shoved into the truck. It is just steeped in cast out of Eden imagery. Even the guy that they get that drives the truck away is named Eden. So some of it is just really undeniable. Right. And in my interpretation, Albert is God. And Michael is a bit of a...
Is he Lucifer?
I don't know if he's Lucifer, but he has aspects of Adam, obviously, since he's cast out. But also... maybe the serpent because he is the keeper of knowledge. He lives in the book depository. He also kind of grants Georgina carnal knowledge. This whole scenario is kind of a reimagining of early Genesis.
Okay, sure.
You know, Albert as God is cruel and unreasonable and the sort of person who would punish knowledge. Like, if you think about Adam and Eve eating of the fruit of the tree of knowledge and being exiled for it. Like, this is kind of an extrapolation of what kind of a God would be like that.
That's true. And like the film starts with him, you said it like almost had like casting out Lucifer vibes.
Yes. Yeah. The first guy, who I don't even know if we get a name for him, but
we do, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah, like when it shows him alone in the streets, like that was immediately the first thing I thought of, was like, this is Lucifer being cast out of heaven.
I definitely thought that guy was going to be more important than he ends up being.
Right.
Because he just shows up at the end. He's the one that pours the wine for Albert at the end.
Yeah.
But like the way it's framed, it gives so much gravitas and importance to this. But really what it's doing is it's establishing Albert's character. Not necessarily who he's doing it to doesn't matter.
Right.
God's judging just another... Because if you think about the cooks in the kitchen as angels, God's judging another angel.
Yep.
And casting them from his presence.
Yeah. And I think we talked a little bit about this where, you know, if Albert's God and the cooks are angels.
Oh, yes. I brought up the Gnostic
right
interpretation of this. Yes, where Albert is the demiurge, Yaldabaoth, and Michael is Lucifer. Georgina is Sophia, which is a concept from Gnosticism. Quick little Gnostic education for the audience. Their belief is that there is a prime, true, pure place called Aeon, and there is where we live, which is the outer darkness, and Yaldabaoth is a demiurge. He is a creation of Sophia, but because she made him from the outer darkness, he cannot truly understand or comprehend actual righteousness. And so he makes the earth, and he makes this horrible prison, and he steals sparks of that aeon, and that's what our souls are. And then Sophia, in her horror, comes to earth after the creation of the material universe and tries to act as a means by which we can ascend and regain ourselves. But Yaldabaoth imprisons her, binds her, and it's only after she incarnates as Jesus that she is liberated and given everyone else a path to escape this horrible place.
Interesting.
So you can kind of read that like the ending is Sophia defeating the demiurge and allowing everyone to be free.
Yeah.
And again, for the record, Gnosticism is a very complicated subject. I know that there are infinite sects of it, and I have merely given one understanding of it. I am not a Gnostic. I am just pointing out the very interesting similarities between the common understanding of Gnosticism and how this film presents itself.
Yeah. And I came to it with no knowledge of Gnosticism, no gnosis.
No gnosis, no wisdom.
But it made me think about how, you know, Albert is all talk, and the only reason he has power is he talks and other people do make it happen.
Right.
The beginning of Genesis, it's described as God speaking and these things happen. It made me think, what if the angels are the ones actually doing the work?
Yeah, so it's like, let there be light, and then there's just like 10 angels in the background, like scurrying around, tripping over things. Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got to figure this out.
Yeah.
They're the ones who have to deal with the logistics. They're the ones with the creativity.
This can even tie into the leftist understanding of this film. Because if Albert is the state commanding it to be done, at the end of the day, states are just made up of people. Right. So a state declares it so, and then actual people who live in the state have to do things. So like ultimately the futility of this is that what is the purpose of the fucking state? If at the end of the day, the state declareth so, but people, you and I, members of the proletariat masses, have to do the things the state declares. What purpose does the state serve? What purpose does Albert serve in his fucking extortion racket?
Right.
You know, and there's even some libertarian parallel there of like, you know, taxation is extortion. I don't necessarily if you're going to have social programs, you have to fund them. Everyone needs to pitch in, right? Okay, fine. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying, though, is that clearly this film is delineating a comparison between government and the governed.
Right.
Because is it just because Albert's an unjust ruler, or is it because the idea of having someone who let there be light and then everyone else has to go do it anyway? Then why do we need that guy? Why do we need the CEO of the company when we can just all run the things? We're already doing the things.
Right.
Like, okay, sure, you need committees or boards to help decide things. It's very impractical to have 10,000 people in a room all making a decision.
Right.
But at the same point, though, if your only purpose is to make decisions, then your power could be easily disseminated against the next tier of your organization, and you aren't necessary.
Right.
So it's not to say that there needs to be no government, but what is the purpose of a government when all they do is declare, and they don't even declare things that people want or agree with?
Right.
Just kick it down to the next level. Why does there have to be a single prick in charge of every fucking thing? Why does there have to be one president? Why can't there why can't Congress just run things?
Right.
Sure, it'd be inefficient, but that's better than just having one guy who can be like, yeah, you know what? Fuck trans people.
Right. Yeah. So that's kind of the gist of the religious angle that I was imagining. There are a lot of other like complicating factors in that, like there's some crucifixion imagery,
especially how Michael goes out, for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like it borrows from all of these ideas from Genesis and just shakes them up in a jar.
How do you feel about this little tangent here? Georgina prays for resurrection, and Michael is not resurrected. She goes to sleep in his arms, talking about all the things that he's going to do in the morning, and he does not resurrect.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this allegory is showing that God is unjust and there is no Jesus. There's no Messiah come to raise and rebel against the unjust. He's dead. Michael's dead. And it's actually after Michael is dead and he's not coming back and she accepts this, that she herself has a change in her demeanor and personality. She goes to Borst and talks and laments and has Borst affirm the love that she had for Michael. And then when we get that final end scene, though, she is Ice Queen.
Yeah.
She has no more feelings. She's just dedicated to the execution of Albert.
Yeah.
And she humiliates him in the same way that he humiliates others. He's got one tiny table that he sits at. There's and no longer are we sitting at this grand table, which is evoking the imagery of the Last Supper. No longer are we in the center of the room. We're kind of off in the side entrance corner of the room and on a single table that's barely as wide as Albert is. And then we come out and we place the intricately cooked but very boringly presented corpse of Michael. Like, it's just on a bed of broccoli and cauliflower. It's actually kind of weird how they cooked him.
Yeah.
Not to say that I'm about to rate the cooking of humans. But it is a very strange presentation. And like, he's so big that they put him on this table and it's like, the platter on which they serve him is many orders of magnitude bigger than this fucking table is. His humiliation is complete. She has become him in this moment in order to punish him.
Yeah.
And very telling that there's only 2 murders in this entire film. The one that Albert does to Michael.
Yeah.
And the one that Georgina does to Albert, which is almost to say that positive masculinity cannot defeat toxic masculinity. Feminism has to defeat it.
Huh. All right. Yeah.
It is only by dragging out and humiliating the concept of toxic masculinity from a feminine side that it truly has ever defeated. Because a positive man will just be subsumed by the toxic masses, or isn't able to withstand that storm. You have to come at it from the other side. How does toxic masculinity get defeated? We just won't fuck you anymore. And it's been very effective. This male loneliness epidemic is really just a symptom of the fact that women don't want to fuck toxic men.
Yeah.
And now women have autonomy and rights and the ability to govern themselves. Because at the start of this film, Albert has her on a tight leash.
Yeah.
And by the end of the film, she is coming to him of her own accord to humiliate and kill him.
Yeah.
Which shows that she has now liberated herself from his yoke. Yeah. And she is taking her power herself. She is stationed at the front of this assault. All of the other people that he's hurt are paraded into the room, but they all stand behind her. She is the source of power in that moment. And he is emasculated, and he's begging and bargaining. He's trying so desperately to have her back. But if we see this in a non-rhetorical lens, she just won't fuck him anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a little bit more of that feminist interpretation.
Before we move on from this scene, you mentioned that the Last Supper imagery was gone with Albert's little tiny table, but we do, opposite him, have this kind of tableau of...
True. It's like, it's basically she's subsumed it. Like, she's now God.
Yeah. She's backed up by everyone who works in the kitchen, everyone that Albert has ever
interacted with, basically.
Yeah.
Like, a couple of his goons aren't present, of course, but...
Well, yeah. But, like, the people that he has brutalized are all present. We haven't even talked about the young boy.
Right. So let's get into that. There is a young boy, and he is singing the same hymn over and over again.
Yep. In a extremely high, was like alto, soprano, I don't know.
Definitely soprano register.
Yeah. These are like castrati heights.
Yeah.
But he's singing this opera that's like...
Well, he's basically just singing a verse in the Bible. The verse is, "Cleanse me with hyssop, and I will be clean. Wash me, and I will be whiter than snow." And he's just singing the Psalms.
Okay. Yeah.
And more to that biblical imagery.
Exactly. And he's singing the first time we enter the kitchen area, and Albert kind of pauses and stares at him, and then like throws a coin in his pot that he's washing or whatever.
Right.
Which kind of shows that Albert can't really conceive of art that isn't commercial.
Right. Yeah. Like, he's just like, oh, this boy is singing so people will give him money.
Yeah.
Because Albert is such a performative man, he cannot conceive of someone just doing something.
Right. And this pure innocent boy comes up a few times, and Albert, he's fighting with Georgina, threatening her, and they're like kind of going back through the kitchen, and he starts harassing this boy as well. Does the boy have a name? I don't remember.
I don't think he's ever named. They just call him the kid.
I think Georgina calls him Pup a couple times.
Yeah, but like that's like oh, poor little pup. Like
yeah.
I don't think they ever name him.
Okay. So Albert starts threatening him. He's like, "Okay, you want to sing?" He like puts him up on the counter. He's like, "Sing for me," and the boy is like faltering, and somehow this gets onto like Georgina's. You know, he's like, "I used to be innocent before Georgina. She took my innocence from me, and I'll teach you. I'll take your innocence," and like drags the both of them out to his car and is basically going to force this kid to watch him rape his wife.
Yes. Luckily, the kid escapes before the kid is too traumatized.
Involved in, yeah.
But the implication, and we do see, like, he is sexually assaulting Georgina in that car.
Yes.
Like, it is not implied. We do not turn away from it. We don't see too much of it, but we just see it.
It's in the distance.
But
yeah.
Yeah, no, the movie is like, no, he's definitely going to do it, and nothing saves her. It kind of comes back around to what I was saying, though, is like, no one saves Georgina in this film but herself. She has tried to escape, and each time she has been captured because of her reliance on others. She's been like, oh, well, I'll go back with you. And they were so nice and so sweet, and they bought her gifts, and then they pulled over and they beat her on the side of the road, basically. Like, stuff like that. Like,
yep.
Her previous escape attempts were not successful because she did not take her power for herself. Michael couldn't save her.
Yep.
Borst couldn't save her. Only she could save herself. Because in this moment, we're expecting something to happen to stop this from happening, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
It happens. And this young child is almost part of it.
I found it interesting that Albert blames her for his loss of innocence.
That's all men can do, is blame women for their problems.
Right. But it reminded me of Eve kind of taking the rap. Is that a phrase?
Yeah, taking the rap. Yeah.
For like introducing Adam to the concept of sin,
which I highly doubt that Albert was some crystal clear cherub before.
Of course not.
Like,
and she, to then dead Michael, intimates some details about her relationship and how Albert routinely assaults her
with strange items.
Yeah. Implies that he likes to penetrate her with these objects, like a toy train was one of them.
She's like, I don't think he likes women. Like, not really.
Yeah, he doesn't like sex. He doesn't like women. He just
likes power.
Yeah. Not in all Christianity, but definitely there's a lingering idea of blaming women for original sin. And I think this is kind of taking it a step further from like exonerating Eve to blaming God. Okay, like they discovered this sin, but God created sin, essentially. Like, what is there in creation that isn't God's fault?
Okay.
Another thing, since we're back on my religious, we're just going to kind of oscillate between these theories, I guess.
I mean, there's a lot of feminist critique caught up in religious critique, so they're naturally
true
companions.
Yeah. So Albert has created or taken over this restaurant, and it has a lot of Eden imagery in the bounty of this kitchen. And something that Borst says, I forget exactly what leads into it, but thanks to Albert's generosity, it's dark everywhere. I think he's kind of implying that like they're drawing so much power for their lights. Like this is kind of the bright oasis in this city that we don't really get to see much else of. But
well, yeah, but he's specifically referring to when Albert tries to turn on those neon signs, and he's like, "Look at this new neon sign I got for your kitchen," and then it causes the power outage.
Okay, yeah.
So thanks to his generosity, it's dark everywhere. Although you can larger tie it into the looming shadow of him over this city, because we get hints of like, oh, look at all the people who paid up. They decided to pay up, and then look at all this money, and they pour it all on the table. And it's like, so there's places we don't see that are also being oppressed by him.
Yeah, absolutely. So like thinking about Eden in those terms, it's almost painting it as God's vanity project, where it's he could frame it as generosity, but he's really just concentrating all of the goodness into this monument to himself.
Yeah, and you can like even tie that into a larger critique of the West. You know, we live in these ivory towers. Even as poor as I am, I have a standard of living that is many levels above what a lot of other people have in the world.
Yeah.
And it really comes down to the fact that we are like the neon sign, drawing power from everywhere and causing the power. Like, if America's economy crashes, it fucks the whole world because we're like this neon sign. We've drawn all this power into ourselves. And if the fuse box blows, then the whole fucking town goes dark.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, you can see of it like that. Like, the idea of modern society, the idea of Eden. And you can even see Genesis as almost a proto-fascist book, because it's talking about, oh, we had Eden, we had this paradise, but then we lost it, and let's work to regain it. And then everyone comes together and we're like, oh, the Tower of Babel, we're going to build a tower to reach God. And then it's only an external force that prevents us from achieving greatness. And it's... You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the heart of supremacist fascist ideology of, like, there's this bygone golden age that we need to recapture.
Right.
Recapturing Eden, just it's the same lie as recapturing the lost Aryan race or whatever the fuck.
Right.
So to a larger support of your point, really, what it comes down to is, yeah, people are so focused on their own indulgence and consumption that they don't stop to think about where all that's coming from, or the rot that's sitting right outside. And I even brought this up, is that the only time we see police in this entire fucking movie is when they show up to deal with the rotting trucks outside.
Yeah.
And they only take one of them away. They leave the other one there.
Yeah.
It's like the police are half measure, and the only thing they're addressing is stuff that inconveniences the nostrils of the elite, because they don't actually do anything to stop the sexual assault that's happening outside in the parking lot.
Or the extortion.
Or the extortion, yeah. Like,
it's kind of this idea of the toxic generosity of billionaires.
Or the toxic generosity of the demiurge.
Of the state.
Or the state.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we switched.
Yeah. Freaky Friday.
Like, all of the generosity of Albert is just because he's extorted wealth from other people. So he has, like, these 2 trucks full of ingredients that he got, he probably just fucking extorted that from another restaurant.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, they actually have other restaurants on the side of the trucks. If I don't, like, the trucks are both branded differently from each other.
There was something else I wanted to say about Borst, and it went with something that we said quite a ways back at this point. But, looking at him as the proletariat to Albert's bourgeois, he kind of all along, but towards the end of the movie, he starts openly defying Albert, because he knows this restaurant would be nothing without him. He is the talent behind it.
He even says, like, what place will have you if you close us down?
Yeah, so I don't know. There's something there about the
power, the true power in the world are those who actually do things.
Yeah.
These fat billionaire parasites that sit like ticks on the arm of truly creative people, sapping the lifeblood from the world, but not savoring it, not enjoying it. They don't like, because this film ties sex and food together from the, like, one of the first lines in the film. Albert doesn't like sex. He wants just power. The same way that he wants blunt and profane dishes, he does these blunt and profane things in sex. And you get someone like Michael who actually understands and appreciates the nuances, and he's not having sex for power. He's having sex for the enjoyment, the thrill of fucking someone in a bathroom stall. That is the love of the game.
Yeah.
Because there is an adrenaline thrill to doing something like that. Borst is the same way. Borst is a true believer in the art, and he seems disgusted that he has to deal with someone like Albert. Because he does. He's like, he has no choice. He's extorted. He has no choice but to host Albert and to feed him and to do all these things. But the food they make for him, he says, we find that you have a simple palate. You don't like complicated dishes. And Albert's offended at that notion, but he's only offended at that notion because it hurts his image, not because it's actually not true.
Right.
To that even larger part of it, the only way for true creativity to thrive in this world would be for the Borsts and the Georginas of this world to shake that tick off their fucking arm and squish it under their boot. Because what good, just like how I was saying earlier, what purpose does the person giving the order serve when they don't do anything? Yeah. What purpose does the billionaire serve when all they do is exploit?
Yeah, it's like vestigial at best.
Yeah, vestigial at best, cancerous at worst. And the rot at the heart of everything, just like those trucks rotting outside, is people like Albert.
Yeah.
Because he's not even an exaggerated simulacrum of a person. There are just people that are like him.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing like this heightened film exists only so that he won't stand out, but he is an accurate representation of power hungry, wealthy people.
Yeah.
He just acts the way that they do. Crude, simplistic in their palate, no true taste artistically, relying on other people to do everything for them, relying on other people to have their taste for them.
Yeah. You're right. The heightened setting just
it hides him.
Yeah. Not entirely. Like obviously the point still comes across, but it does make it more palatable.
Right, because there are like people will be like, "Oh no, there's no way that's not realistic." But look around you. There is a group of powerful people who are trying so desperately not to have incriminating information about them released to the public. And why? Because they live a life of exploitation and power, and they are afraid of losing that power more than anything else. Mm-hmm. They don't care. They don't care about sex. They don't care about love. They don't care about money. They don't care about any of this shit. All they care about is power. But a lot of them are also cowards. Right? They like all of this embarrassment and power and humiliation and all this shit when they get to be the ones doing it. But if you make them for a moment face the ugly truth about what they've done, they can't stomach it.
Yep.
They're just like Albert in the end. They're cannibals, but when you make them face the reality of their cannibalism, they can't even stomach the sight of it.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about when Albert has Michael killed. He's barely in the room.
Right. Like he's like well away. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's there like as they're stuffing him with paper, but he
turns away at a certain point.
Yeah. He's walking down the hall and he's ranting about it, and then he has this kind of turn where he's like I don't even don't belabor it. Just get it done.
He's so caught up in the passion of the violence that it overcomes that part of him for a moment. But then he wakes up to what he's doing and he realizes how distasteful it is.
Yeah.
And he turns away and he gets on his knees almost like he's praying. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I don't cut off his ball. Like he's like, cut off his balls. And then he's like, no, don't cut off his balls. It'll make it look like a sex crime. And this is a vengeance crime. They should know it's a vengeance crime. And
yeah. He's even in this, he's concerned about his image.
And there's also his guys are also like, hey boss, this is going to fuck us. Like the cops are going to find out. And this was a very bad move. Like you shouldn't have done this. And he was like, well, why shouldn't I have? This man fucked my wife. And they're like, no. What we mean is, he's like, we get why you killed him, but you shouldn't have left his body there like that.
Right.
So you could almost see the end of Michael being cooked and served to Albert as like a visual representation of the consequences of vengeance catching up with you.
Mm-hmm.
Being forced to live up to your word when you are a charlatan is the ultimate form of hell and torture. It's easy to promise things. It's easy to threaten things. Follow through is difficult. And someone who's not a charlatan, if someone who's honest, who lives an honest life, says, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head, they mean it.
Right.
But if someone who's a charlatan says, I'm going to shoot you in the fucking head, yeah.
Do
they mean it? Or even if they do, like, clearly it's not easy for them to follow through on anything that they say. Yeah. They're only doing so for appearances. If you've wronged an honest person and they are going to, like, I'm going to skin you alive and eat you, part of you believes they're probably going to fucking do that because you must have really done something. But someone like Albert, who just says whatever intrusive thought comes into his mind, how can you function or live in a world where people can just say and have no real consequence for their words?
I think you could even kind of loop that back into what this movie is saying about consumption and the relationship between consumption and waste.
Right. There's a lot of bathroom stuff in this. Like there's a lot of just talk about shit and piss. And
and Albert talks about like how the naughty bits are close to the filthy bits, and it just goes to show. But Albert is a person who, the way that he consumes, he's not savoring, he's not digesting, everything just passes straight through him. There's even reference to that literally in something that Georgina says about like his habits. But figuratively, the waste just continually pours out of his mouth.
Right. It's not like he's reversed almost. Like,
yeah.
he's so full of shit that it's just over everything and everyone.
Yeah.
And he talks about shit a lot. It's actually kind of one of those things I was like, wow, we have talked about the bathroom a lot in this film.
Yeah.
Georgina is using it as her excuse for why she keeps leaving the table to go fuck Michael.
Georgina represents the opposite end of the spectrum, where she is appreciative and gets something out of what she consumes. Obviously Michael's similar.
Yeah. That's why they make a good compatibility match. Yeah. Right. Because he's consuming her body, right? But he's appreciating that consumption. He's savoring that consumption. And when they basically she sneaks off to go fuck him between courses, it's like she's his meal.
Yeah.
In the same way that he becomes a meal presented to Albert at the end. And for the first time in Albert's life, he is forced to consider before consuming.
Right.
What Borst thinks that Georgina is going to do is consume him so that he can be a part of her forever, because he's a fucking romantic. I mean, honestly, Borst and I have a lot in common with how we think about things.
Yeah.
When Georgina's like, I want you to cook Michael.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, is she going to do like a weird, like, we're going to eat him together? And, Borst is a romantic, but Georgina is not. So whereas Borst is like, well, why do you need me to affirm that you loved Michael? Your love was beautiful and pure.
Yeah.
She was like, no, she's a realist. She's like, I need you to affirm that it was real.
Yeah, she talks kind of at length about her need for this like external validation that she had something special with Michael. And she says, if you didn't witness it, how do I know that it was true?
Right.
Something along.
Because she seems to be under the impression that if it's just her that can account for it, then anyone can just simply say you made that up. It's a very legalistic idea of like you have to have multiple witnesses to corroborate words to say it again.
Corroborate.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ. You need to have more than one witness to verify that something has happened. Whereas to a romantic like Borst or myself, your experience is the important part of it.
Yeah.
You experiencing being in love, who gives a fuck if anybody else was around to witness it?
Right. But that in itself is an act of consumption. Like Borst witnessing their union, he's kind of consuming what they're creating in that way. So it kind of paints this picture of consumption as a two-way street.
Consumption as a form of art itself.
Yeah. There's a lot that we haven't talked about, but I feel like we've talked about enough that we can kind of... Like, this might be one of the few movies that we revisit.
We can, maybe maybe next season we can have a revisit of this film as a liminal, just to talk about it. I would say, if you can handle the gross parts of this film, it is actually something I would recommend that people watch. This film surprised me with how much I enjoyed it.
Yeah, it's just a surprising film, like that it even got made, honestly. All right.
Yes.
What was one thing you liked and one thing you disliked about the cook, the thief, his wife, and her lover?
Mm-hmm. It's hard to pick.
Yeah.
I would say that my favorite aspect of this film in general has to be the color palette. I've never seen another film do the thing where they like have the actor change their clothes to go into another room to emphasize the lighting of that room.
Right.
I think that was genuinely a very interesting idea that like I want to like capture in a project I make in some point, where the change in scene actually changes the color, not the design of the outfit, but the color of the outfit.
Yeah.
To emphasize the color theory at play. White as purity, it's seen as safe, as clean. And then red, we talked about that a little bit, but...
Yeah, and my theory was that the kitchen is green because it's the source of creativity, and the dining room is red because that's where it's being consumed and torn apart, and like
it's red and black, but yeah, same difference. It's death. He talked about like black is compared to death in this film. So he's like, I charge more for black things, and there's lots of black in the dining hall.
Yeah,
whereas the bathroom is almost entirely white. So I would say that's my favorite part. My favorite part is just the overall just color of this film.
Yeah.
The outside, the how like the alleyway is really blue. Even the alleyway is really blue.
Yeah.
And
true.
Michael's bookshop is really yellow and brown. And like, just all of these things that like each set, there's only 4 or 5 depending on how you count. Let's say 5. There's 5 sets in this like entire film, and they all have such unique identity to them that I can picture each one in my mind, and I can in my head completely understand these sets.
Yeah it overall a very visually rich film,
and there's so much dense character. When you're in the dining hall, there's just so many people in the dining hall, and you like look at them, and they're all dressed differently, and oh my god! And then there's one, and then like the servers have like the girl servers have a corset on.
Oh yeah.
And I remember one of them was so pretty that I was like, oh my god, like just like that was just I wanted to be that pretty. One thing I didn't like about this film was I didn't like how the person being brutalized at the beginning wasn't important.
Right.
It's like the language of the film makes me want to feel like that person's really important. Like if that had been Borst at the beginning being brutalized, I think it would have made the film more powerful in its, because the bourgeoisie actively embarrassing and humiliating the proletariat masses that they then will turn around and expect to exploit without any incident.
Yeah.
The fact that it's just some nameless person, I feel, is a missed opportunity. And as we have established, the thing that Ari hates the most is wasted potential.
Right.
So,
okay.
But if I had to pick anything I didn't like about this film, it's just that because the opening scene was so good and so powerful, but then this person that they're doing this to wasn't anybody.
Yeah.
It just didn't feel What about you, Tristan? What's one thing you liked and one thing you didn't like?
Well, one thing that we haven't talked about yet that I really appreciate is the actor playing Albert, who
disappears into this role.
Yeah, and also brings such theatrical energy to it. He has so many lines in this movie. Like, if you broke down the runtime, I would not be surprised if he is speaking for 60% of the entire runtime.
Which tracks with the whole point of his character.
Yeah.
And also, like, a lot of the black comedy in this comes from Albert's phrases.
Yeah. But, even beyond that kind of showmanship, he has these mood swing moments where you can see kind of behind the mask for a moment to his intense vulnerability. I can't remember exactly when it happens, but there's one moment where he like almost starts crying for just like one line, and then kind of reboots into his persona, and he just handles that so gracefully. I should look up his name.
Michael Gambon.
He's
the he played Dumbledore.
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
But yes, I agree. He and they have some kind of makeup on him that really like makes him look extra vile. Like,
yeah.
Again, tying into my favorite thing, the set design and the prop design, so much about this movie just is so beautiful. And even the disgusting stuff is beautiful.
One thing that I did not appreciate as much, I'm going to say some of the repetitiveness of the score. Sometimes it worked, like their kind of love theme I like. But I'm with you that kid needs to learn just one other hymn.
Because if like throughout the course of the film he was singing other hymns, I would be like, okay, I get where they're going with this.
Yeah.
But all he did, I could not imagine working in that kitchen and he sings this song over and over again.
Yep. Yeah.
So, if you ever fall in love with a bookworm from across the French dining hall, maybe just don't tell your crime boss spouse about it.
Yeah.
Or do, but then, you're going to have to cook up that person and feed it to them. So, I guess then that's one way to get a divorce.
I'm sorry I'm not better at these. I see you trying. This has been Emissaries from the Void with Ari Stell Hawthorne and myself, Tristan Bowersox. New episodes will be released every other week with short bonus content we're calling liminals in the off weeks. The intro music is Now I Hear Little Dreams by Captive Portal, and the outro music is Arcadia by White Bat Audio. You can find us on Blue Sky at Void Emissaries, and remember that's single M-double-S. You can find Ari as Obscurity on most platforms and me on Blue Sky and Letterboxd as TB McQueen. The latter is where you will find our watch list and suggest movies you'd like to hear us dissect. You can also email us at emissariesfromthevoid@outlook.com to give feedback, alternate takes on the movies we've discussed, questions, suggestions, etc. Emissaries from the Void is a Void Opal podcast produced by TB McQueen Creative. For something completely different, listen to my other podcast, Fan Fiction Theater.
As the world unravels under the weight of an immortal sorcerer's despair, Tula must confront the man who quite literally stole her heart. Along with a cunning demon bound to her by desperate choices, she journeys through a land scarred by destruction, seeking to be made whole again before darkness consumes everything. A tale of resilience, reckoning, and the cost of hope. A Bird for a Heart explores what it means to hold on to your humanity when the world demands you let it go. A Bird for a Heart is a fantasy fiction podcast, written and recorded by Michael J. Patrick.
Available wherever fine podcasts are found.